Hard Hat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to pump him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you. What's up, everyone? This is Noah Dalzell, and I'm here with a special guest, Jack Simone, who is going to be filling in tonight. Bobby Manning will be joining hopefully shortly from the airport. We're here in Las Vegas after the Celtics fall their first loss of Summer League, 196 to the Miami Heat. Personally devastating, because I was really looking forward to covering the Celtics Summer League playoff run, championship. And I think that's pretty much out of the running now because they've lost a game, and I think only 4 teams actually make it to that point. So, Jack, welcome to the show. What are your initial takes from this game?
I love being called a special guest, first of all. So thank you for that amazing intro. It's disappointing because there's pretty much no chance that they get to make a finals run now or a championship run now, because there's like 8 undefeated teams left, and that just seems out the window. My initial take is they missed a lot of shots. Like they just missed a lot of good looks, and I think obviously part of it was they gave up a few too many shots at the rim. There was this whole stretch, and I forget if it was late third or early fourth, where they gave up like 4 transition buckets to Johnson in a row, and he was just like dunking. He had like 5 straight dunks, and so there were obviously stretches like that where it was a problem. But they missed a lot of shots. Baylor Shireman got a lot of good looks, and that's kind of been the story of his summer league so far. He was 4-13 from 3. Ugo Gonzalez was 1 of 7 from 3. Miles Norris was 2 of 7 from 3. Like guys who usually make shots. Max Shulga was 0 of 3. Like guys who you need to make shots didn't make shots, and I mean, in a game you lose by 4 points, that kind of matters.
Yeah, for sure. And that was Summer League's Matt Reynolds, head coach. That was kind of his message post game, is that they missed shots early on, and then they were just a couple plays away. It's kind of been a theme for this group. Like, nobody's had a spectacular offensive Summer League run. Looking at Baylor, who I think had probably the highest expectations. I actually loved how Baylor played today. I know we're going to talk about kind of some of the main guys, but I loved his competitive fire, his intensity. You could tell how badly he wanted this one, which is obviously, I think it's a great quality for a Summer League game. And he was telling people what to do, and he was leading, and I was sitting right in front of the Celtics bench. But he struggled. He has not found any offensive rhythm through 3 games here, 7 of 19 tonight. For Ugo, he was so down on himself. And I know, Jack, you asked him about kind of what that was all about, but he's been down on himself both games. Even the first game that I thought he played pretty well, he was kind of hyper-focused on the missed free throws. Today, I think just across the board, he did not look great. Like he just struggled, turnovers, kind of looked a little bit overwhelmed. I don't know, but he was frustrated the entire game, talking to himself. But through 2 games here, Jack, what are you thinking about Ugo and just kind of like where he's at in some early impressions here?
Ugo's a perfectionist. Like it's
yeah.
He could shoot 8 of 8 from the field, 5 of 5 from 3, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, but have 1 turnover in the last 30 seconds of the game in a game they lost by 1, and he wouldn't care about anything else. Like it's just he needs to be perfect, or else he's not going to meet his standards. And that's a good and a bad thing, right? It's a good thing because, I mean, like you said, I asked him about it, and he said, because in 30 years from now, I want to look back on my career and do everything and say I have done everything possible to be the best I can be and win championships. But at the same time, like when you're down on yourself after every single play, every single mistake, it leads to more mistakes. And we saw that. How many turnovers do you have today? He finished the game with, looking right here, 6 turnovers, and every turnover
and 7 fouls.
Exactly. Like every mistake he made bled into the next one because he was down on himself. He was frustrated. He was like cursing in Spanish, I assume was what he was saying in Spanish. I couldn't hear, like, I don't know, but like he was just so angry at himself after every mistake. And you can't really do that when you're a professional athlete. And in the long run, it's probably going to be a positive because it means he's going to, work his ass off to be better. But for the time being, you kind of just got to go to the next play. And I think a guy like Baylor has done a really good job at that. A guy like Jordan has gotten a lot better at that, and it'll come with growth. He's 19 years old, but for right now, he's really just got to learn to move on to the next play.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. Like there's something about it that you like because he cares so much. And I asked him, like, is it a pressure thing? And I don't think he feels pressure on himself. Like I don't think he's nervous about Summer League and trying to show out. Like I think this is just kind of how he is. At the same time, like you could definitely see that he was kind of forcing the issue. And there's so many guys on the Celtics that are like that. Like Jordan Walsh is like that. And we'll talk about him and his ejection and all the things that came with it. Sam Hauser is like that. Like Sam Hauser will be 0 for 2 when he's like already cursing at himself. So it's like there is something with like that type of player that it's just, if you can get out of your own head, I do think it really benefits you. And that's what I liked about how Baylor played. Like there's still things as far as his production goes that leaves a lot to be desired. And I'm sure he's going to find a rhythm. Like I have confidence in his shot, but I thought he was the only one kind of those guys that was missing shots, and his body language didn't change, and his effort level didn't change. And probably a lot of that is just like his age. Like he is 4 years older than Ugo. He's 3 years older than Jordan. So there's that too, of just like that maturity level that you get to. But I know we're going to go deeper on some of these guys, but I do think we should just talk about Jordan off the bat, because first of all, he had a great, very entertaining post-game press conference, but also he was in the midst of a really good game and was actually their best player, I thought, in the second quarter. And then he picks up 2 technical fouls in like a 10-second span, is ejected, and then it was right in front of Brad Stevens and the front office. Bill Chisholm was there, so it was a lot of commotion. But he talked to us post game and shared a little bit more about that. I don't know. We can play the. Do we have the audio? We don't have the audio. We can play it. Okay. But Jack, what did you think about that whole situation with Jordan and the text and kind of how he went about it?
I mean, it felt like he was just really enjoying being annoying. Like it sounded like he was just really enjoying being a pest, and he was picking up like full court, and he was going after I forget the guy's name. Who was the guy who was like being really annoying to Jordan, the first tech? I forget. Stevenson. He was
It was
being really
Stevenson, and then
annoying.
it was Pierre.
Yeah, Pele Larson.
Pele Larson.
He was being really annoying against Stevenson, and I think he was like having fun, like going back and forth with him, pushing him, and then he was having a lot of fun going back and forth with Larson. And then I think he just like got so caught up in that intensity, that like being a pest mindset, that he said it after the game. He goes, I kind of forgot I got the first tech. Like he forgot that he was on pace to maybe get ejected from the game. So I mean, obviously he said it after the game too. Like you got to be smarter than that. You can't do that, especially in front of Brad Stevens, who didn't look like super thrilled that it was happening. But I mean, you asked about it after the game too. It sounded like Brad might not have been thrilled, but Joe Mazzulla was a fan of what went down.
So what's funny is, so we're here at Summer League. There's so many Celtics personnel like here, just kind of set the scene for people at home. Brad Stevens was sitting courtside with Mike Zarin, with Bill Chisholm, Steve Pagliuca also was sitting kind of in that area. Allison Feaster, who has a lot of the player development efforts. So like a lot of the front office people are here. And then Joe Mazzulla is sitting like high up in the bleachers, I think with his family and like some people I didn't recognize, but he's there, but he's not sitting courtside. So like that whole tussle that happened, he was not in the thick of that. But after the game, I did see him like walk over to Jordan, and he looked like his eyes were gleaming. Like he was so excited, but I didn't know if I misread it. So I asked Jordan about it. We can play that sound of just his post-game presser.
I mean, dumb decision. Low-key kind of forgot I got the first tech. And I also remember that don't nobody really hit nobody in the NBA. So, like, I really didn't have no reason to attack him. But I thought that it was dumb. Like, at the end of the day, I feel like that was like a rookie mistake. It was immature of me to do, and I thought can't let it happen again.
So from an emotion standpoint, was there no spillover related to the first tech to shove with Stevenson? Is that totally independent and unrelated, even from an emotional side of things?
No, I think there was some carryover, but I don't think it was enough to fully like make me do that. I think that it was also something else. I don't know what I was mad at, but I was mad at something.
Jordan, you kind of scored. Like you probably didn't realize you were going to get ejected because it was a second tech. But after, you kind of like you liked it. Like you were like, yeah, bring it on. Like what? Are you kind of? Do you feel like you're getting picked on, or are you just kind of like, hey, I got to show. People may think I'm too nice a guy. Like I need to show. Like I'm an MF out there.
I mean, for one, I don't ever want to get pushed around. Like I feel like this whole summer league, I was getting hit, and like people was doing all type of stuff to me, and they was letting it go. So I was kind of like letting it slide. But at the same time, like I should have known better than to take it to that next level. I feel like I knew better than that. But for sure, I don't want to be no pushover. I don't want to just let somebody roll over me, for sure.
Have you ever been ejected in the game before?
Oh yeah, for sure. The one other time.
Remember that? When was that?
It was actually I got ejected once because I think I slapped the ball into the stands or something like that.
I saw you met Brad Stevens after the game. What was your conversation like with him? What were you trying to tell him after that?
Oh, for one, I wanted to make sure everybody was over there was like okay, because I kind of like caused that. But then I also wanted to like apologize to him just because, you know, that's not really me. Like I'm more of a professional than that, more mature than that. So I just wanted to make sure that he knew that and that, you know, this wasn't going to be a continuous thing.
I know Joe's always talking about fighting and all that. I saw him come over to you after the game. Is there something about it that he liked to seeing that passion out of you, or is it like it kind of went into the negative side?
Yeah, he told me he loved it. Yeah, as soon as I got ejected and I got to the locker room, I checked my phone. He was texting me. He was like, "I love this out of you." And so, take that for what it is. But Joe was hyped for sure.
Is that the general feedback? They like you showing that side of yourself, even though you don't obviously want to get ejected?
I mean, he liked it. I mean, I just didn't want to get pushed around anymore. I mean, that was me. But Joe liked it. I don't know if Brad liked it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Jordan, you were picking him up like all the way down the floor. Do you like being like an irritant on defense? Like, do you enjoy doing that? And I saw the scream after the play too. I don't think you knew you were going to get attacked, but like, do you like enjoy playing like that?
For sure. I feel like I'm trying to get under people's skin. Like I'm trying to get them confused. You know, throw them off their rhythm. Ended up happening to me, but like I want to disrupt everybody. You know, so I want to take you out your rhythm. I want to take you out your plays, your sets. I want to speed you up. But yeah, that was the original goal, though, for sure.
How different does this feel? You know, I know you guys are trying some new things, cutting, playing a little bit faster. You've obviously been here a couple of years. Like, how do some of the new things you're trying feel?
I mean, I like it. It's a different brand of basketball than what I'm used to. I feel like usually with the Celtics, whenever we're in a pin, just like give JT the ball, let him cook, or get him a ball screen, let him cook. Here, it's kind of like we're running ball screens, we're getting everybody activated. We're trying to even emphasize more, you know, getting the corners activated, because I feel like once you're in the corner on our team, you're kind of just stuck there. And so we're trying to find ways to get them into the offense, get them into the defense as well.
Jordan, how is been your experience with Hugo Gonzalez as a teammate on and off the court so far? With Hugo Gonzalez?
I mean, he's a good dude. I haven't talked to him much. He doesn't talk much, I don't think. But
That's such a Jordan
most
comment.
of the time that we've interacted has been on the court. He plays hard and he plays defense.
It's so funny, like when I hear
Like Baylor,
Jordan
even when he's
talk
missing
about
shots, he seems like
anything,
he-
because
I
I
think
don't
we
think
can cut away from this.
Yeah, it feels like obviously there's media training, but at the same time, like you can see him fighting the urge to say like some of the things he actually wants to say, and it usually comes out in a wash in terms of like half professionalism, half like I forgot I had a second tech. You know, say he's like, I apologize to Brad, but also like, oh man, I don't know what's happening. But that was very entertaining press conference.
And welcome, Bobby, to the show. Bobby, are you at your gate?
I'm good. I'm at the gate. I'm at Las Vegas Airport, about to get out of here after a game that went longer than I wanted it to for airport purposes. But we got 25, 30 minutes till we board here. So, wow, that was a game. And I didn't love how Boston played, but they were still in position to win late. And I know we're talking Jordan. I've liked Jordan's overall approach to Summer League so far, so I guess I'll start with him before we get to the Ugo struggles. But this was a blip on the radar, I feel like. And we talked about it during the game, though. He's struggled at times. I think he's admitted it, to deal with his emotions throughout the flow of the game. That was obviously a moment where he just lost control. That was obviously, I guess he didn't know he had the first technical, he said, but he put himself in position to get ejected from a Summer League game, certainly with a shove like that. Maybe that you get away with that during the regular season or certainly the playoffs. But it was a tough look, and I'm sure you guys mentioned to do it in front of the front office when you have a very lightly guaranteed contract and you're trying to angle for some minutes this year. Joe loved it, but I think you have to impress Brad first and sell yourself to Brad first going into this year. Not that I think he's in trouble. I think he showed well these playoffs. This Summer League, but that wasn't a great moment for him.
That's what I think when he said that Joe loved it. He said it kind of being like, I don't know if that's a good thing. Like, it's not like he was like, oh, Joe loved it, I'm all good. He was like, Joe loved it. I don't know if Brad loved it. Like, I think he knows.
So Brad
he
mulled
probably
something. I
shouldn't have.
couldn't make it out. It looked like he was saying no, Jack. When Jordan was doing what he was doing, I couldn't figure out what followed that. But he said something as Walsh went and made the shove, and you could tell he didn't love it.
When Walsh gave him like the second little shove, I don't know what he said, like you said, but he was like, whoa, 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 like he was like, oh, he knew what was about to happen. He was trying to stop it, but it was far too late.
And I like what I've seen out of Jordan so far in these 3 games. Like, he was having a good game. He has been finishing much better around the basket. He looks much more in control. Like, it really is night and day from last year's Summer League, which is why it's good to not read too much into these things, because while I do think he's improved, a lot of it is just like a mindset shift. So I don't think it was the end of the world that this happened. I don't think it'll impact things too much long term, but I honestly just wanted to watch him play a little longer because he is one of the few guys on this roster that has a viable chance at being in the rotation this year. I think it's him, Baylor, Ugo. I think is going to need a little bit of time to acclimate. So even if it's a little bit of main time, or I don't think it's going to be you're just going to throw him in at 19 and throw him into the game. But like I guess going into Summer League, we were talking a bunch. Like, is it Baylor or is it Jordan? Like, which of those guys has the leg up? For both of you, like, has your opinion changed on who has a better chance to impact the parent team off the bat, or is it too soon to tell here?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen enough from Ugo. We've only seen 2 games, and you saw a decent game and you saw a struggle-filled game here. This was messy from him, and I don't know if it was a rhythm thing or the fatigue we've talked about or just making the reads inside. I know he said in his post-game presser that they were getting handsier in the lane than he saw in Europe. So there's obviously a big acclimation process going on here for him. This was messy. He looked out of control for much of this game, and this is the stuff, along with shooting concerns that he brings, coming over, that will make him a difficult fit immediately, especially with the system that the Celtics are going to run. And you heard Jordan talk about the changes they're making a little bit there too. I think those will benefit him potentially. I think it'll benefit Ugo as he figures things out overall. But Walsh is undoubtedly, just from being here 2 to 3 years, in a higher position, having even played NBA games and some real NBA stints at this point, to get in the games initially, at least initially, to start this year. And I like how his shot's looking. I like his poise so far in his decision-making overall, and there's some good things Ugo has done, but I don't know if you agree with that, Jack. I think Walsh is a little ahead of him right now.
Are we talking just Walsh or Ugo, or are we including Baylor too? Like, as a 3?
Baylor too.
Well, Baylor's undoubtedly ahead of both of them.
That's what I was going to say. I think Baylor is definitely ahead of both of those guys. I mean, he hasn't shot the ball well at all, obviously. But he's done so much more than that. I mean, he had, I think, 8 assists in the last game, 9 assists tonight, 5 steals tonight as well. Like, it's just the point that he is playing without any lack of confidence. He is doing a great job handling the ball. I think they're going to need some of that ball handling too next year, at least as a secondary creator, right? Because like everyone's like, oh, they have Pritchard, they have Jalen, they have Derek. That's easy. But like, if you have those 3 guys as your primary offensive creators, you still need guys who can be like the secondary creators on the floor. And without Drew, without Al, without, Luke, KP, and JT, you need other guys to step up into these secondary creator roles where if they double team Jalen, you need somebody to make a play off the ball, to put the ball on the floor and make something happen. That's Baylor has proven that he can do it at least a little bit. And the other thing to consider, like, as much as he is struggling in these games, he's not shooting that well. Like, he's at least handling the ball. He's not going to see the same defensive pressure in the NBA. He is going to have the benefit of Jaylen Brown's going to be guarded by the best guy. Derek White's going to be guarded by the best guy. Pritchard's going to be guarded by the best guy. Like, he is going to have the advantage of not having to go up against the teeth of the defense every time. And I think the shots will eventually start falling. I think he's a very streaky shooter. I tweeted this today. I think the whole Hauser Baylor comparison thing is a little bit silly because I think they're completely different players. Like, I think they should coexist, and 2, you don't need the same thing. But
I wonder if you see this too, Jack. He almost changes his approach sometimes, or his form, or at least his positioning where he's shooting from every time. And I feel like that's where the inconsistent shooting stemming from is his body's not in alignment all the time. And he might.
I think he's more comfortable. I think part of it is he's more comfortable shooting off the dribble, and most of his looks come in catch and shoot situations. And that's fine. It's just when you have Baylor, who's probably going to be he'll give you some 3s a game, but mostly a ball handler, rebounder, and like secondary creator passing guy. That's very different from Hauser, who is just one of the best shooters in the NBA. And so I think the people trying to like pit them up against each other, they play very different roles. And I think they are going to have the chance to play those different roles. But I think Baylor is going to be an important player to this team this upcoming season. And it's going to be way more than just how he shoots the ball.
Yeah,
especially like you said, Noah, because Simons won't be here. I almost feel like he's the backup point guard if Simons is gone.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see what happens there, but he certainly has an opportunity. I mean, it's kind of remarkable where he was at, in March. He was getting these minutes because they were bet resting guys and guys were in and out of the lineup, but he was potentially looking at a roster where he was the 12th man. And right now there's a very viable opportunity. And nothing that he's done here has blown me away, but overall, I feel good about how he's played through 3 games, and I'm not super concerned about the shooting struggles as we've talked about. We've seen what it's like when he's hitting from the outside, like that stretch in March. He was awesome. He had a great offensive rhythm and all of that. But he does do the other things, and like I asked a bunch of people about post game, but it's very obvious that he's able to like not let it affect the other things, which is human nature. Like the best players in the world let missing shots affect their defense and affect their other, doing the little things. And he's going to have moments where he does. That's just natural. But I actually, that was like one of my biggest takeaways from this game, is how much he was able to stay in it. And he was leading the guys in the sideline, and all of these things, unfortunately, still resulted in a loss, and therefore taking the team out of the title contention. Bobby, I know we probably only have you for a few more minutes, but we talked a little bit about Ugo and his struggles in this one and just how hard he was on himself afterwards. Anybody else or any other kind of like key things you wanted to discuss before we lose you?
Yeah, I think Shireman has shown well. We can keep rolling with him a little bit here, and I do have confidence in him. I've become a little torn because I think the reasons he fell to 30 started to show themselves over the last couple of years here. Obviously, he needed a little more development than I certainly expected going into last year. And I think physically he's looking great. I think he has definitely shredded himself a little bit. He looks stronger. He looks thinner. His overall build just looks more solid than when he came into the league. So I like that. I don't love the shot selection. We've heard Brad Stevens say a couple of times in different settings that you don't want to force it here. You don't want to try to be something you're not. And I feel like that's mostly been directed at him. I know that was Walsh's theme coming into this as well. But I think that's been the story of his summer league so far, is trying to play in control and do things, like Jack said, that are going to be his job when he goes to Boston. And he will be a big part of this team this year, I feel like. He'll probably have to play a couple different roles offensively. I've loved the defense. The defense has been excellent, and he started both of these games with a string of steals by being aggressive and timely with his hands. He has good length. He has, as we've talked, an improved physicality. And I think he's a guy that eventually can guard up and defend some bigger guys and use his strength and length to maybe move to the 4 defensively. And obviously, I think offensively, his skill set's like that of a guard. So this is still a guy I'm super high on. Obviously, I think he's the leader among these wings, as Jack mentioned. And it's just a matter of, is the physicality going to translate, his athleticism? The defense is a big one. If he's become a better defender, I think that is going to allow him to have a consistent job here. And the shooting, we know he can shoot, right? It's just about the selection and where he does it. And I think that's the trouble for him so far through this summer league, though. You were saying during the game, though, you thought he just missed some tough looks.
Yeah, I thought he just missed some tough looks.
Get that off the screen. What, like, come on. What are we doing?
I thought he just missed some tough looks. I think he made some easy ones. The first game, I felt like he was pressing a little bit and like he was kind of forcing himself into like maybe not the best shots. But since then, it really was not. It was not. I don't think it was a shot selection issue as much as just hitting shots. We're gonna hear a quick message from our friends over at Prize Picks. And then I want to talk about the other guys as well. We didn't see Amari Williams. We did see Max Shulga all of these games. That Miles Norris had a nice showing, so we can chat about some of those other Summer League guys too.
This show, as always, is powered by Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Turn your sports opinions into real cash with Prize Picks. With millions of members, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you have to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. All you have to do is download that Prize Picks app, use the code CLNS to get $50 in your account when you play 5. That's it. All you have to do, play a $5 lineup, 50 instantly in your account when you use the code CLNS. You don't have to win. All you have to do is play 5, and that is that. Always check the Prize Picks app. There's free squares to be had all the time. Once again, all you have to do for new users is download that Prize Picks app, use the code CLNS, Play 5, get 50 instantly in your account. Once again, download the app. Play 5, get 50 instantly when you use the code CLNS. Prize Picks, run your game.
So the one draft pick that has appeared in all 3 of these games that we haven't talked a ton about is Max Shulga, drafted 57th. He's been kind of handling the ball for a lot of his time here with the Celtics. And I feel like we have not had much conversation about it because he hasn't done a whole lot. But curious, both of you, what your early impressions are of him. And I imagine he's a main guy to begin, and like he's going to kind of get his bearings over there and learn the system and everything. But is there a potential role down the stretch here for him?
I love Max Shulga. I'm a fan. I'm gonna stake my claim as #1 Max Shulga fan right here.
Who's your favorite among the 3, Jack? It feels like you love all 3
rookies, of them. I like the 3 rookies. Okay, I need to clarify first. When I say I love the 3 rookies, I understand the context of, like, none of them are going to be Jason Tatum. None of them are going to be like all-stars. Like that, I don't believe that is in the cards for any of them. Maybe Ugo if it really comes together, but I'm talking about like just the way they play as a potential role player. So before I continue, I'm just going to clarify that I don't think like any of them are going to go crazy, right? Shulga's going to spend a lot of time in Maine for sure. I think he's probably going to end up taking over the role that JD Davison left behind as the team's lead point guard. Like that would make a lot of sense if they want to do it that way. The reason I'm such a big fan of Shulga is the way he plays and the way he sees the floor and the way he acts on the floor. Like it is stone face. I think I like players who are in the opposite directions, right? Like I like Walsh because he is extremely intense, all the motions at all time, and I think that works for him, and I think that's fun. For Shulga, just stone faced at all times. He's been a great playmaker for them. He's hit some nice floaters in the lane. He's doing a great job of finding Charles Bassey, of finding the bigs on rolls. Like I think that's fun. And I mean, the first few plays of the Knicks game is he airballs a floater, disaster start, but then immediately steals the ball. Doesn't care that he just airballed a floater. Steals the ball, passes it back out, spaces the floor again, hits a 3, and then picks up full court. Like again, I'm not saying Shulga is going to be amazing. I'm not saying he's gonna be an all-star. I'm not even gonna say he's gonna be in the rotation next year. He's not gonna play for the Celtics next year for sure. But as a foundation, I like where he is starting as a foundation. So the shot needs to come around. He's not a good enough shooter, straight up, flat out at this point. He cannot shoot the ball as well as he probably should be able to right now. But the ball handling's there. His like collective calmness on the court is there, which I think is a good thing for a guy who's probably going to be a point guard or a combo guard in the NBA is there. And his defense is good for relatively undersized guys. Like I've been impressed with the way he's handled himself on the defensive end. So I think the Celtics drafted a very specific class of those 3 guys, and they all hustle. They all try 100% at all times, and I think that's a fun thing.
So I wrote a little bit about his backstory, so I focused more on like his journey here than his game. I know you've probably watched a little bit of him, Jack. Was he a point guard in college? Because I feel like they're asking him to do something that isn't supernatural to him here, and he's done a decent job with it. And Brad has credited him as saying like he's been overly focused on just setting everything up, and we haven't actually seen a ton of his scoring game. I feel like he's just super focused on setting the table right now.
I haven't watched a ton of him at VCU yet. I've watched a lot of Amari and Ugo for like the videos I make, but I'm gonna do Shulga probably later in the summer. But from what I am aware of and what I've looked at, I think he handled the ball a pretty decent amount at VCU.
The thing that I heard about him, I was talking to some people out here in Summer League about just like, cause I did not know a lot about him as a prospect. Teams really liked what he did in college and how he was able to lead VCU and in Utah, but he really struggled at the combine. And that kind of took a toll on his projected standings. I think he was initially projected to be better than a 57th pick and then just had a really tough go. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's indicative of some larger pressure cooker thing or if it's just he had a bad week and it was a bad week to have a bad week. So that's just a little bit of.
Brad did call their head coach Odom leading up to the draft and made him aware that this guy was on their radar and this is a guy who could end up in Boston. So they definitely looked at him ahead of this draft and identified him as a guy that they like. I think, like Jack said, there's an uphill battle in NBA minutes here. I don't have a great feel for what his NBA skill is. You've said that a ton, Noah, right? These guys need to have one skill that you feel great about fitting in at the NBA level. And for Ugo, it's the versatility on the defensive end right now and his size and physicality, even at 19. For Amari, it's the passing, obviously. And for Shoga, great shot maker in college, but was it elite enough shot making to thrive at the NBA level, especially at 6'4"? That's the big thing, Jack. He's not like a Hauser at 6'8". He's shorter stature as a guard here. And so guard ability, he's high enough to be an all guy.
How you holding that, man?
And even just like standing next to him, like he's not like a big NBA player. Like sometimes on the roster, these guys have whatever height they have listed. But when we met him, like when all the rookies were introduced at the YMCA in Boston, I was thinking to myself, like, he's not really built like an NBA player. Like he's a little bit undersized. Like that's going to be a little bit.
He's not built like that.
I just think, that's another thing for him to have to overcome. Like we meet Ugo right away. He's 19 years old and he has the height, he has the strength. Like it seems like that part is going to be an easier transition. But we'll see. He's not going to become anything off the jump, but I do think that he's one of those guys that might hang around. And again, they're going to offer him a 2-way contract. Has been the reporting so far. Nothing's official yet. And they did have Drew Peterson in that slot for the last year and a half. I think fans are probably familiar with Drew to an extent. He had some limited opportunities in Boston, but they feel good enough about him to give him that spot and to lose Drew, who's not playing Summer League right now, and to give somebody else an opportunity. So we'll see there. And then Miles Norris, the returning 2-way player.
I did want to talk about him.
Yeah, why don't you share your thoughts, Bobby, on just Miles? I liked what Miles did tonight. There's things I love about his game, but it just hasn't come together in like the dominant fashion that I want to see.
Yeah, he's a great shooter, and Reynolds said that too. He almost swore when he said it. I love his shot. It's so smooth. It goes through the basket very softly. High arc with the long arms. He's tall, so he can get a shot off. And there's a ton to like there. And they even slid him over to the 5, it looked like, at one point in this game. So I don't know where his best position is defensively. I know that's a worry with his game, is he's not a great defender at this point, but he had a big block late, almost a game-saving block for them at that point. And he's just, I think, another wing who can put the ball in the basket here. And I don't think he's too far behind these other guys that we're talking about here. I actually view him as a guy that could break into some NBA action this year, despite the fact that he hasn't yet. And that's the big thing with him, right? He's been around for a couple years. He's a little older, and he hasn't played any NBA basketball yet. He's tore up the G League, and he's put the ball up a ton from 3 and hit those at a great rate. So that, if you have size, can defend a little bit, can hit threes, you're going to play in this league, but he hasn't. So we'll see what's stopping him here as we get into training camp. And I think they gave him a 2-year, 2-way deal, which you don't see a ton. So they obviously really like him. And I think he's probably in a good position to stay in that spot, even as we debate like Drew Peterson and maybe some other guys that they might look at through Summer League here. But I think there's a good chance it's going to be Norris, Amari, and Shoga, at least to start the year. And he's a guy I really like. And, I think he's got a good attitude and great size certainly here. So I'm high on him going into the year. Again, I don't know why he hasn't played NBA minutes yet, but I love his skill set. I really do. I think he brings a lot to the table.
I was relatively lower on Norris after the first game that he played, because of the defense, and it's like, where do you put him? But he showed some flashes of like how you can understand where he could fit in on the defensive end in this one, I think. And obviously offensively, I think if he can eliminate some of the streakiness from his game, he's there. I mean, he's massive. He's great at cutting to the rim. He's a freak athlete. He hits shots. Like it's all there. It's just all about like, can he stay in front of guys defensively? And if not, can you find him the places to play off the ball to where he can use that length? He obviously got in a couple passing lanes today, had the big block you talked about. Like, you can see it with Miles Norris, how there is a path for him to playing at the NBA level. I think maybe you need a little more time cooking in Maine just to get him more familiar with how the Celtics play defense and how they want to do things, just because he only had that half season. And I think, weirdly enough, because it's not a lot, like you mentioned, maybe there's a path for him to play NBA minutes this year. Remember when Drew Peterson got those like Cavaliers game, like Heat minutes at the
I'll
start of the
never
year?
forget it.
I feel like that could be like,
We'll remember
maybe
that
we
for
throw
years.
Norris. Yeah, I feel like maybe this year is like, okay, maybe we throw Norris in those spots and see if he does anything, if it pops. And I feel like he'll probably earn that chance this year once he has more time to be in the system in Boston.
Yeah, and everybody's going to see opportunities this year. Like, again, you're going to have to show out in those opportunities, because we already saw last year Jordan got some early opportunities, didn't do a whole lot, and that was it. So, but he's going to get a chance. All of these guys are going to get somewhat of a chance. I think even in Maine, I would imagine some of the some of these Summer League guys are going to play for Maine. I don't know which ones yet. I don't know if anybody else has really stuck out for you guys. Kenny Lofton, there's things that he does that I like. I don't really see him fitting in Boston. I haven't gotten the sense that he's here to ultimately play for the Celtics. Maybe I'm wrong. Charles Bassey wasn't quite as dominant as he was in the previous few games, but if we're talking about like this team needing some more front court help, like there's a lot of things to love about him and
He had
his
to play a real
rebounding and his
center.
energy. Yeah,
Unfortunately.
right. So if you're telling me like who's one guy we want to add to the roster from guys that we didn't know coming in, like he is an obvious candidate. Anybody else from just like the guys that have been in and out, Isaiah Wong, Jalen Bridges, Kendall Brown, like anybody else that stuck out to you guys that you guys
I love Bassey. I love Bassey. I wish they could make it work with him somehow. It does seem like it's a tough path to making that happen just because of the guys they have on the roster already, the role they probably want to see him already play from a development standpoint. This guy doesn't seem like a development and certainly isn't eligible for a two-way. So he's probably going to catch on somewhere. And I don't think it's going to be here necessarily just because when you look at them, they have 15 guys, could waive JD, but then you bring them in and you have 15 guarantees at that point. Like I think Walsh is making this roster. I know Nimi's gonna. And it was described to me today, like the skill set's almost duplicative with Keita. There's not a huge difference between what these guys do necessarily. Bass might be a little bit of a better defender from what I've seen so far, but Keita's the better offensive player to me. So it's tough. I really wish they could find a way to get this guy into camp at the very least. But I think with what he's doing here, it's just going to be too good. And there's too much of a need for backup centers, especially cheap ones around the league here. We'll see how healthy he is. He's obviously battled health over the last couple of years here. Like Jack mentioned when we got into that first game, it's like, whoa, what's he even doing here? So I don't even know how this thing came together, him being on this roster here and not just signed to a team that views him as part of their big picture, at least this year. So he's been exciting to watch. It's been a pleasant surprise to have him on this team. I think he's helped other guys. The alley-oop, I think Shireman threw to him at one point, or Shulga rather threw to him at one point in this game. Like when you have a nice release outlet like this guy's been at times, helps everybody around him. So whether he stays or not, I think he's been helpful to the guys who have played and are going to be part of the Celtics this year. And again, just a bummer that the roster is where it is at this point, and you have some other centers in front of them here. Obviously not a stacked center room, but guys who have been there and do things similar to him. So that's my thoughts on the Summer League here. I'm going to fly back to Boston. And speaking of Keita, I'm going out to Portugal to go see him tomorrow night and cover his camp out there. So really looking forward to that. It looks like he might start for this team next year too. So looking forward to hearing what he's thinking about that and how he's preparing for that. So I am out of Summer League. Jack, Noah are going to have some great coverage here. They've both done an amazing job. Jack with the videos and breakdowns, Noah with the reporting out there. So stay tuned to both of them, and I'll be watching and tuning in from Europe. So I'm out of here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Moved on quickly from Luke, already going to Portugal to hang out with Nimi. Luke is
I said all year. You guys kept trying to make it a Cornet versus Keita thing to me all year, and I love Keita, and I think I was the first person at events.
Did you ever visit Luke in his hometown, though?
No, I did not.
There you go.
It's kind of fake.
Yeah. Well, Luke's not from Portugal. If Luke was in Portugal, Bobby might have visited.
Absolutely. And this is it for the bucket hat. It's gotten a lot of compliments through the week. It's gotten a lot of criticism throughout the week. It's been very divisive.
Would you say more compliments or more criticism?
I think it's 50-50, almost exactly. And it's along gender lines. I'll let you guess, but yeah, it's a staple. Whether people like it or not, it's going to be in Vegas. It's going to be in Miami.
Let us know in the chat. What do you think?
Yeah, give some.
It's actually a dangerous
vote on it. We can do a vote on it. But yeah, I'm out of here. I'm about to board this flight. Thank you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, Bobby.
Bye, Bobby. Now that Bobby's gone, you can honestly tell us what you think about the bucket hat. Well, Jack, the gender lines that he was referring to are all the men here at Summer League encouraging him to wear that hat. I can confirm that was the gender line that he is describing.
Let him wear the hat, man. Let the hat live.
The other guy that we didn't really talk about, and I think we can save it for probably Thursday when the Celtics play the Lakers. They have a couple days off here. Is Amari Williams, who did get a rest day tonight, back-to-back games. So it kind of makes sense. Yesterday, Ugo didn't play. Miles Norris didn't play today. Amari Williams doesn't play. Baylor and Jordan did not get a rest day. I don't know why. But clearly those two guys wanted to compete both nights. I don't know if they'll keep playing. This kind of when summer league starts, you start to shut down the rotation players, and you see more of the kind of flyer players that we haven't really seen a whole lot of yet. So you'll probably get to know some new characters. But anything on Amari, Jack? I know you like his passing a lot. I think his rebounding has left a little to be desired so far. And also, I feel like he's kind of in a tough spot because Charles Bassey has a couple of years on him, and he's come in and just been the more dominant player at that position. Yeah, but what do you think about Amari?
I would need to check. I think they're actually very similar in age, which is just a matter of college
Are they
guy
really?
spending 4 or 5 years. Yeah, Mario Williams is like 23, turning 24 this year. You can fact check me. I think Bassey's 24 right now, so they're very close in age. But I did like a video on Amari Williams, like a short form thing, going over like some of the stuff I like. Passing's awesome. Like he's one of the better passing big men coming out of this draft class. Very impressive cross court passes is kind of like his staple. He does a great job of like noticing cuts on the floor and understanding where defenders are going to help off of their guys at the 3-point line. Like he's an unbelievable passer. The rebounding definitely needs some work. From what I watched in the Kansas games that I watched is like film to do the video. It was a lot of face guard blockouts. Like that's his biggest crux. He just constantly face guard blocks out, and that's going to get him killed in the NBA. He gets bullied a little bit too much sometimes by like the really, really strong guys. He does a good job adjusting and like fronting them when he has to, like after learning, but he that can be a tendency. So I think rebounding could be something that he needs to improve on in struggle. And then the touch around the rim needs to improve a little bit, but crazy athlete, freakish wingspan. Like he's a very smart player and he learns very quickly. And so I think he has a chance to maybe develop into something. It's going to need some work in man. It's going to need some work. And you notice in the practices so far, it's kind of like broken up into bigs, wings, forwards, guards and stuff. And Amari Williams is always working alone. Like he's not working with the other bigs. He's working on his own with, I think, Ross McMahon's and a couple other coaches, like on very specific things they want to iron out in his games, while Lofton and Ben Gregg and Bassey are like taking a couple jumpers here and there, rolling to the rim. Amari Williams is working on his like touch around the rim. He's working on his, rolling and dunking and his finishing. Like he's working on very specific things they know they want to improve, or him to improve on. So, I mean, I really like the raw skill set. He sets some bone crushing screens. I mean, he leveled, I think it was maybe Jalen Wells or somebody in that first Grizzlies game and got called for a foul. I don't think it was a foul. I think he just killed him. But you can see the outline of him being like a very like intriguing player for the Celtics team, and I like him a lot. I think he's going to be fun to watch develop.
So that's kind of the cast. We'll see probably a few of these guys play a little bit more. There's one more game on Thursday versus the Lakers. Then there's going to be a 5th game that has yet to be scheduled. And I don't think that a 6th game is in play considering tonight's outcome. Before we wrap, Jack, we don't always have you on here. I'm just curious for just as this offseason has taken shape and, obviously Celtics have lost some key players. Where are you at with where this team is going to be next year? We've had a lot of debates here with John, with Jimmy, Bobby, myself around, is this team going to tank? Is this team going to be bottom of the East? Is this team going to be a top 5 seed? Like it's really is hard to project. Like I change my mind depending on who the last person I spoke with is. But where are you at as far as if you have to put it in stone right now, like where this team's going to be next year?
Well, obviously losing Horford and Cornette in free agency hurts a lot, but I've maintained this ever since the offseason started. If you have Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Peyton Pritchard, you're not going to be able to tank in the Eastern Conference. Like the Eastern Conference is not good enough for you to tank with those guys healthy and playing actual basketball games. Now, if Jalen's surgery bleeds into the regular season, which I don't think it's going to, like there's no indication that's going to happen, but like if they run into injury issues a la the 76ers early in the season, maybe it's like, oh, let's just, shut down a few guys, we'll lose a few games, but that doesn't seem like something the Celtics would do, and that doesn't seem like something that Jaylen Brown would want to do, or Peyton Pritchard would want to do, or Derek White would want to do. Like, I don't think they're going to be incredible. I think they're going to be struggling to generate offense at times. I think you're going to see a lot of fluctuation at the big man position. Obviously, you have 3 really talented players in Jalen, Derek, and Peyton. You have Sam Hauser, who is an elite 3-point shooter who honestly, you can probably run more plays for now. Like, you can get him even more of those good looks that he's so good at making. You're probably going to see his 3-point volume increase in terms of attempts. You have Shireman, who you can see what you got from in terms of a ball handler role. You've got guys like Walsh. You've got other guys along, the roster. Obviously, Niang and Anthony Simons, if he's still on the team, which you don't really know because it sounds like they need to get under the second apron, and he might just be a casualty of financial decisions. They've got talent, man. I don't think they're going to be crazy. I think they'll probably be fighting for that 5-6 seed in the Eastern Conference. I don't know, man. I think people are sleeping on how good this top 3 can be at times.
I'm so curious because that could end up being like right on the money, or it could be completely wrong. Like you
I could
might
look like
be,
a complete fool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't actually like put in pen my own prediction on next season, in part
Oh,
because
so
of the
you're
league
cheating and
roster.
you're getting everybody else's
Exactly.
before you
Well,
put
like,
yours down.
here's the thing though,
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
on like 100 more times,
Sure.
Like, we
Yeah,
might
yeah,
not
of
have you
course.
back on, especially based on how today went. I don't think we'll have you back on. So we just wanted to get your prediction while we still could. So
I
5th or 6th seed is Jack's prediction. It feels, I actually don't think that's crazy. I think if John was here, he'd probably say this team's probably not going to be there. And some people might say that's the worst place you could be, right? As a 6th seed with no real pathway towards making a playoff run. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that type of experience could be a really good experience for a lot of the rotation players. But they're going to have a lot of things are going to have to click for this team to be a top 6 seed. Like defensively, there are gaps, as you mentioned, the front court. A lot of the players that I really believe in, like Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, they're going to not have the same spacing that they're used to having. So how much is that going to impact them versus how much do you benefit from having the ball in your hand more and having more opportunities and better rhythm? And I had a story come out with Jaylen that we talked about that on the show yesterday, but Jalen's going to get like game winner opportunities now, like stuff like that. Like how much does that impact your confidence and your rhythm and all those things? So not that he'll take all of them, but it just changes things. So we'll see where that goes. I know some people are looking forward to the tank and the Celtics trying to get like a top 3 pick. Other people, that's the last thing they want to see. I hate tanking across the board in the NBA so much. I hate when the Celtics play the Jazz and you go in the locker room and like they all are totally fine in jeans. So I don't like that. That's a thing that happens. I bring it up all the time, but I also understand that that's the way teams get better. And they don't have a ton of like super high ceiling young prospects right now. So I do understand the desire to get there. Any last thoughts, Jack? And actually, no. Before I give you the closing sentence, I just want to say we have so much content. I'm going to be out here the rest of Summer League. We have so much content on CLNS Media, on our channel, all the post-game press conferences. If you want to see from what head coach Matt Reynolds is saying, we have all of his press conferences. Ugo has been great. I really enjoy talking to him. English is not his first language, but his English is much better than I expected. And you can tell that you can get a lot from him just by talking to him. You can glean like his intensity and everything. So check out all those press conferences. Check out our podcast, my podcast, You Got Boston podcast. Jack, how about them Celtics? Big 3 podcast. We got a lot going on over here. So I know it's the off season, but I am going to be here through the rest of Summer League. So we'll have plenty of more content in the coming days here, as well as we have some sit downs with some experts from around the league, Michael Scotto, Jake Fisher, guys that are going to kind of shine some light on some of the rumors that you've heard. And we did have a sit down, Bobby and I, with Ugo Gonzalez on the first day here. We threw in some Spanish. I'm going to say I think it's a little bit of a hard watch. But watch it for yourself and decide, including myself. That's not just a jab at Bobby, including myself. Jack, did you end up catching any of that?
So I did my little like film breakdown with Baylor as you guys were doing it, and after I wrapped up, I like looked over and I saw all 3 of your faces as you guys were trying to talk Spanish, and I had to like turn away because I would have start laughing.
I think it was good for rapport. Like within 2 minutes of his first scrum at Summer League, like we were both laughing at Bobby together, like I felt like that was kind of a bonding experience. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, obviously his Spanish is his first language. So it feels like the nice thing to do is to like sprinkle some Spanish in there, but his English is just so much better than our Spanish that it's kind of laughable. But check that out. Check out, Bobby had an interview with Amari Williams. He talked about the origins of his passing. So we got a lot of good stuff. Jack, is there anything you want to plug on your end?
Not really. Podcast, How About Them Celtics. I do videos. That's just on my Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, which is Jack Simone NBA. And then the writings at Hardwood Houdini. But that's about it. Thanks.
I don't like giving Jack a lot of credit, but the videos are worth a watch.
I can tell it like
Um,
pains you.
It's
It
hard.
like
It
really
is hard for
hurts
me.
your soul. But thanks.
But he's been doing these cool videos. You can check them out on his Twitter. But like he's showing players plays on his iPad, and the players are walking through them, and then he edits them nicely, and then you can watch the play that the player is watching. That was a
Thank
really
you for
bad
powering
explanation.
through. Thanks for powering through the
But
pain there.
no, but it's cool because when he first told me this idea, I wasn't sure how players were going to respond. But players really like talking about basketball. Like they don't actually do it all that often.
Would have
because
thought.
Normally post game. Well, it's funny because I don't think Joe Mazzulla loves talking about basketball as much. Like post game, like he doesn't like being pushed on like a lot of the technical things. But the players, like they don't really get asked technical questions ever. That's more of a coach thing. So they've been enjoying it. Baylor and Jordan both took it in stride, and they're both good sports in general. Friends of the show, we had them on the Garden Report last month. Both took our silly questions and ran with them. But yeah, I think that's it. No reason to go on too long. I know it's a little bit later on the West Coast. It's been, I don't even know how it feels right now in Vegas. I feel like all the days have been one long day. I'll just say one last thing, like just summer league observations and talking to people. When I say people, I mean like front office executives from around the league, like media members. The general takeaway that I have 2 takeaways. The Celtics really weren't very close at all to trading Derek White and Jaylen Brown. Like, I know we've debated this a lot and we've talked about it. I don't want to be like, this is my report, but this is just like what I'm hearing on the concourse, just talking to people. Like, it was not nearly as close as I think it felt the day of the draft when Shams was going on ESPN like every 5 minutes and their names were coming up. So just wanted to relay that because I didn't really have a great sense until I got here, and just being here since Thursday, that has become very evident to me that nothing, like obviously Mike Zarin said it on the record that nothing was particularly close, but it does not feel like it was. I think that's completely accurate. And yes, it's Shams never said like it was close, but just the frequency with which it was coming up felt like it was. I think it was more just a reflection of the fact that teams were really interested, and that is completely accurate. I talked to a lot of people that were inquiring about both players. And the other thing is, I know we had Gary Washburn on yesterday. You can check out that show if you didn't watch it. It was not just about Game 2. We actually talked about a lot of different things, including Jaylen Brown and the Damian Lillard rumors. So you can check that out. But I do think there's some smoke with the Damian Lillard stuff. I thought at the beginning it was kind of like a Celtics fanfic kind of thing, where it's just like, oh, you can get the star player that we didn't get last time around, and he also has a torn Achilles, and they can hang out, and it'll be a nice little story, and then they'll come back. But I actually think there's more to it than just the mythology. So just putting both of those thoughts out there. I tweeted that yesterday, but that's like the 2 big things that I've learned, at least just from chatting with people. Jack, anything you're picking up here that you want to share with the crowd?
Nothing crazy. I mean, I've just had fun at Summer League talking to various media members, agents, and stuff like that. But it's way too hot. But I'm gonna be here far too long to keep complaining about that. So I'll let it live.
It is hot, and yes, it is. It was the same report, but just slightly reworded, which is kind of a weird thing. Like, you can still be accurate, but if you say it 100 times, like, are you implying something? Like, I don't know. There's a gray area with reporting and like how you convey things to the world, and I'm still figuring out how to navigate it all as well. But yeah, okay, that is all for us today. Thank you, Jack, for joining. Let us know if you want to see Jack back on the show. I don't know why when I'm the host, I feel like I want to direct the commenters to do things. I don't know why I have this instinct.
You're getting a power trip.
The power is getting to my head. Yeah. So thank you, Jack, for joining. Thank you to Bobby, who is probably on his flight right now. You can follow along. I'm sure Bobby will have lots of updates from Portugal. Thank you to Amit.
I thought you said thinking of Bobby. I was like, is he in trouble?
Thinking of Bobby. Thank you to Bobby. I don't know if I thanked him while he was still with us, because I don't know if I could thank him while he was still on the show. You see this? Noah hates Jack.
It's true. I get bullied constantly. Please help me.
Yeah. It's not true. It was my idea to bring you on today, I think. Or may have actually been Amit's idea. I can't remember.
If you were taking credit for Amit's idea, you're gonna hear it. But anyways, I'll let you continue.
We landed. Oh wow! Hold on, one more comment.
It was Amit's idea.
Noah's Spanish is the best.
By the way,
it's too bad that Bobby's not here for that. But I have a good accent. I learned high school Spanish, but I have some family in Brazil. I feel like it kind of got through to me, so I think that I get a little bit of that. So, anyways, let's wrap. Thank you all. Thanks for watching. We'll be back Thursday after postgame. I'm sure we'll have. Actually, I have a You Got Boston podcast coming out tomorrow. Felger and Maz were talking about me today, and I want to do You Got Boston. I'm not going to engage with that discourse, but I'm going to have my own discourse. So check that out on my channel and on CLNS Media as well. Good night, everybody. Thanks
No
for
one's
watching.
sneaking a vegan brownie by me, I'll tell you that.
Okay, you know what, John? We're going to do it.
You have to feel that way too, Bobby.
I have to
Same.
feel that
Same
way.
to you.
Let's fight Al over and make Luke your first center.
Bobby, we gave you Luke hour early. We are not going to end this on a damn conversation about Luke